Henry Cejudo acknowledges Khamzat Chimaevi's explosiveness and capacity to dominate in the opening rounds, but he still thinks the Chin will lose to Drius Dupi. Henry doubts he can keep up that kind of energy for the entire 5 rounds. Khamzat recently dominated former champion Robert Whittaker, solidifying his place among the top contenders. Dupi recently defended his middleweight title by defeating Shaw Strickland via decision in a lackluster yet commanding performance. This possible clash is one of the division's most eagerly awaited bouts, with both men on a roll. Henry indicated DDPs. One of the main things that could cause Chimaevi problems is her relentless pace and capacity to continue moving forward even when she is exhausted. He likened the DDP style to that of fighters such as Merab, although it may appear unconventional or even careless. Duval acknowledged that opponents find it to be a nightmare because to its sheer volume and persistence. With both competitors prepared to give it their all in the octagon, this bout looks to be an all-out war. It is expected to be an incredible fight for the next middleweight belt.
Dude, Khamzat, I just, in a 5-round fight, man, seeing 2 fights with Khamzat, man, Khamzat could beat anybody in the world in about a round. But I don't see that. I don't see that against DDP. DDP's scrambly, man. He's not super impressed with what he did to Robert Whittaker. But I just feel like you're going to need to really be able to pace yourself for 5 rounds. And with DDP's train just continue to keep rolling and he's still steaming and his train's still hot, I don't see it, man. I don't see it. And hopefully they fight here pretty soon, or Khamzat's going to need a fight here pretty soon. It depends on how long DDP wants to take a break. You know, so you're probably looking at maybe August, maybe for him that he wants to fight again, unless he wants to fight sometime in the summer. I don't see it. I just don't see it. I used to think he was the sloppiest thing on planet Earth, and I thought the same thing about Merab until they bring that volume and just the tenacity. It changes everything.
Jon Jones's primary sparring partner, professional boxer Leon Edwards, has shared some intriguing anecdotes regarding Jones and Francis Ngannou. In addition to working with current PFL heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou, Leonid mostly instructs Jon in boxing. He told a story in a Russian interview with Usha TAA about how he had just walked into the gym when Francis came up to him and questioned him about what he had done. He recounted the entire story. "I had been following Francis's career for a long time, so I was shocked to see him when I initially walked into the gym. After that, I texted my friend to let him know that I had just met Francis and that we would be training together. I quickly recorded Ngannou on my phone so I could give it to my pal. When he saw it, he walked quickly toward me. He had an angry expression on his face and was really frightening. Bro, what are you doing?" he questioned. "You're recording me, but why?" Everything was fine once I clarified right away that I was merely playing around with my friend and that I didn't mean any offense. Francis is a decent man. Additionally, Graham shared a fascinating fact about Jon Jones. He acknowledged that the idea of battling Francis Ngannou completely shook Jon. He disclosed that although Jones had previously acknowledged that the only opponent that ever really frightened him was Anthony Rumble Johnson, who was at the time on a run and knocking people out in droves, Grev is now positive that Ngannou shook him just as much, if not more. Although Jon was clearly nervous about a possible fight with Francis, he was clearly glad to have a new opponent when Jones was scheduled to face Cyril Gunn after Francis quit the UFC. The Russian MMA community reacted strongly to this, with the majority of fans making fun of Jones for fleeing the fight. Now we at MMA Psycho have translated and presented it to you. What do you think? Is it reasonable to be anxious before meeting a bulldozer like Francis Ngannou in a fight, even if your name is Jon Jones? Does this alter your opinion of the entire Jones-Ngannou negotiating story, where both parties are blaming each other for the fight not happening? Comment below. Elaine Sterling thinks Islam Makhachev's kicking technique is inferior to Ilia Topura's. Aljo recently dismantled a possible super fight between Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topura. One aspect of his analysis jumped out, despite the fact that the majority of it made sense and highlighted Islam's greater ground game and Ilia's superior punching power. Alo remarked that Islam might not be as good at kicking as Elm's Matador. This is somewhat unexpected given that the Georgian rarely uses kicks. At worst, sporadic leg kicks, and nothing very noteworthy. Islam, on the other hand, relies heavily on high kicks and rarely uses leg kicks, although he famously knocked out Alexander Volkanovski with one. Islam Makhachev just defeated Renato Moano in a resounding victory, and Ilia just defeated Max Holloway in his most recent fight. The majority of pundits and coaches concur that Toria will probably fight the champion next, stating that the former champion wouldn't simply give up his championship without assurance of a chance to win the title. As a result, his future is currently a heated topic of conversation. However, Javier Mendez, Islam's head coach, recently alluded in a podcast that they're getting ready to simply engage next. In your opinion, who should El Matador battle next? Comment below.
Speed advantage, Ilia Topuria. Boxing speed, boxing punches, Ilia Topuria. Calf kicks, which is a very dangerous weapon. I think Ilia Topuria uses those way better than Islam Makhachev. I don't think Makhachev really throws kicks like calf kicks or leg kicks. wrestling, control, and submissions, I'm going to lean towards Islam Makhachev. Fight IQ, that's hard. Both guys are really, really good. I think they're neck and neck. It's hard for me to pick. Because I've seen both guys make adjustments in fight. Strength, I'm going towards Islam, but that's in the cardio. Islam cuts so much weight, I think he gets tired in the later rounds. I think that might be relatively close. It's a very interesting fight. Hopefully it gets made.
Like, he's gonna crack Islam.
You gotta close the distance to do that. You're walking into dangerous territory right there. I think it's gonna be a great fight. That's my prediction.
Roman Della secured a majority judgment, finally exacting retribution on Marvin Vettori. Victory following 5 competitive rounds, with the first round testing the fighters against one another. In the second, Doza accelerated and delivered the stronger blows. Vettori had his moments during the bout, but Doza's constant pressure and punching helped him dominate the championship rounds. Given that both Israel Adesanya and Robert Whittaker are well known in the division and would be a formidable opponent, the Garan made it apparent that it makes little difference who he faces. Roman also made it clear that he is aiming for the greatest names to propel him to the top, not fighters like Kyo Baralo or Nardine Imaba, who are next in line for a title opportunity.